According to TSN hockey insider Pierre LeBrun, the NHL has sent a memo to its board of governors regarding speculation surrounding the Arizona Coyotes and a potential move to Salt Lake City. According to Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly, the league is continuing to work on a solution to what has been a challenging and difficult situation. Pierre is also reporting no one involved is ready to confirm that the relocation's happening for sure, but it could move quickly if it indeed happens. And wouldn't you know it, 2 days ago, we noticed this tweet from speculative future owner of the Salt Lake City franchise, Utah Jazz owner Ryan Smith. No relation, by the way, to the former Captain Canada and Edmonton Oilers legend. He tweeted, if an NHL team were to come to Utah, what should we name it? Fill out this survey and send us your ideas. So interesting. Here's Pierre LeBrun himself to talk about it. So, Pierre, what a wild day, and certainly nothing definitive, but what can you tell us about the future of this Arizona Coyotes franchise as we stand right now?
It's like Ryan Smith knew something when he tweeted that out a couple of days ago. I mean, listen, this thing is quite a fluid situation. Here's what we can say is that, you know, Ryan Smith, SEG Group, the parent company that owns the Utah Jazz, they are in discussions with the National Hockey League about potentially being a solution to this Coyotes problem. What they're not doing is having direct negotiations with the Coyotes ownership, which I found interesting, which suggests, of course, that if this does happen, got to put the word if in there, if it goes down this path, that the league would be buying the team from Alex Morello, the Coyotes, and then turning around and buying and selling it to Salt Lake City and to Ryan Smith, and within that, a relocation fee, which would be split among the owners. You may remember back in 2011 that the Jets did have to pay a relocation fee as part of the Thrashers transaction getting Atlanta, and that was split among the owners as well. Again, everyone involved in this, those who were willing to talk on background, quick to say to me on this day, be careful, nothing is done. This could still go a number of different ways, but we know that Salt Lake is talking to the league. And we also know that you know, the league can't go on forever here in terms of not knowing if the Coyotes can secure this piece of land, and the auction for that isn't until June. And so let's go back in history. The Thrashers were moved to Winnipeg in late May 2011. We're in, you know, almost mid-April here. It doesn't mean that things always happen the same way, but timelines are important. The Coyotes play their last home game next week on Wednesday, another important target. As someone involved in the situation said to me on this day, there's still a lot of work to be done, but if it goes down that path, i.e. relocation, it could escalate quickly. So again, we'll see where this all goes. And I even think that Bill Daly quote that he gave me that you read, Jay, even though it's like, okay, it's kind of a statement and we can't comment further, but even saying publicly that it's a difficult and challenging process, I think is significant, Jay, because I think it's the league maybe setting the stage for, you know, this potentially could happen. Potentially.
Yeah, and you say potentially, and you brought up timelines, and I think you make such a good point because you and I, we've been talking about this for a long time, and we always bring up the fact that the Jets didn't get relocated until late May. Do you see a timeline that deep into the year, or do you see it actually coming together a lot quicker than that?
I know that there's a potential for this to happen before the end of April, so that would be quicker. And again, that last home game in Arizona next week is an interesting point as well in all of this. But it really, you know, it comes down to a very significant, you know, facet here, which, you know, we don't know the answer to. I reached out to the president of the Coyotes on this day, and he declined comment. You know, would Alex Morello be willing to sell the Coyotes to the league? We don't know that for sure. And so this is a process that could get messy, and that's why there's no one ready to say this is for sure happening. It may not happen. Not to mention the fact that you never know if the Coyotes could actually still figure this out in time and save their franchise. So again, a lot of moving parts here, but what's significant is we know the Salt Lake Group's talking to the league, and we know that the league sent out that memo to its board of governors kind of announcing, you know, that this thing could potentially happen. As one governor said to me, it read like a memo about moving parts and still nothing done, but it's also the type of memo that screams buckle up just in case.
Yes.
So we'll see.
You know, Pierre, I feel like we have to warn our viewers here, those who might be applauding the fact that Arizona is about to lose an NHL team. Just because this might be the end of Arizona NHL hockey at this moment in time, does not mean that the NHL wouldn't return to Arizona at some point. If anything, Gary Bettman seems determined to get it back there at some point, doesn't he?
There's no question in my mind that if the Coyotes end up being relocated, that Arizona jumps to the top of the expansion list for the NHL. That they have not, the NHL does not want to give up on this market. It just may have to give up on this owner and on this arena situation, which has obviously been a gong show forever. But this market, we're one of the fastest growing areas in America in terms of population and growth, Scottsdale and Phoenix. The league believes that it could work one day under the right circumstances. So you're right. I mean, I think that if the Coyotes are relocated, I think in no time you'll see that NHL is going to try to find a way over the coming years to find a solution for Arizona. I strongly believe that.
Now, to me, this is the second most important news of the day. The most important news of the day was Pierre LeBrun's article in The Athletic, in which he wrote an article that I've been dreaming about someone writing for a long time, basically rewriting the entire NHL schedule. Pierre, and you say that this has received a significant amount of feedback from your readers.
Yeah, some might call it fake news, but yes, I had fun writing that column. And you know, I've mentioned this so many times over the air and on social media over the years, and you know, someone came up to me in the press box the other night at a Leafs game and said, "Why don't you write it finally?" And I did. And you know, the nuts and bolts is that, you know, let's drop the puck for the regular season on September 20th. Let's award the Stanley Cup by May 31st. Let's move up the draft to the second week of June. Let's move up the opening of free agency away from Canada Day on July 1st to sometime in late June. Who wants hockey in mid to late June? The Stanley Cup this year could go all the way to June 24th if it goes 7. Wow. The draft is 4 days later in Vegas. All of it boggles my mind. And yes, the readers at The Athletic loved all the ideas, which are not necessarily mine, by the way. A lot of people love these ideas, but I formulated them. And is it going to happen? Don't think so.
You articulated what many of us have been thinking for a long time, and that's what we appreciate about you. Pierre LeBrun, thanks for joining us on the show. Thanks so much.
All right, Jay.